Imagine a life bathed in the warm Miami sun, a picture of success and happiness. But beneath the surface of this idyllic scene lay a darkness, a secret, waiting to erupt. This is the chilling story of the Sutton family, where a troubled past didn't just knock, it kicked down the door with deadly force. What truly happened on that fateful night in Coral Gables? John and Susan Sutton built a life many envied. He, a renowned attorney. She, a dedicated head nurse. Their luxurious Coral Gables home was a symbol of their success. They adopted Christopher, then welcomed Melissa 7 years later, creating a seemingly perfect family unit. They instilled values, discipline, and a love for community. They traveled, they scuba dived, they enjoyed life's finest. John's legal career soared. Susan was his rock at home and in the office. Their world appeared flawless, a testament to hard work and dedication. But even in paradise, shadows can lurk, unseen and waiting. While Melissa was calm and obedient, Christopher was different. He was the family's black sheep, a role he seemed to embrace. His parents hoped he had left his troubled youth behind. They believed he had changed, that the defiance and anger were gone. But appearances can be deceiving. Unknown to John and Susan, darker intentions festered beneath Christopher's newfound calm, a history of defiance, anger, and a chilling disregard for rules hinted at a deeper problem. This troubled past wasn't buried. It was merely lying dormant, waiting for the right moment to strike. August 22nd, 2004. A night of celebration. Susan had just turned 57, and John's firm secured major legal victories. A small gathering at their home on Orduna Drive. Christopher, his fiancée Juliet, and John's law partner Teddy Minotto stopped by. Laughter filled the air. Toasts were made. As the evening wound down, Christopher and Juliet left for a movie. Teddy headed home, tired. John and Susan retired to their separate bedrooms, a practical arrangement due to John's snoring. They said goodnight, unaware that this seemingly ordinary night would be their last together, a prelude to unimaginable horror. Around 10:30 p.m., the unthinkable happened. A figure dressed in black slipped into the Sutton home. They knew the layout, the habits. The back sliding door, often left unlocked, offered easy entry. The family dog barely stirred. This wasn't a random act. It was calculated, precise. Armed with a 9mm Glock, the intruder moved silently through the house. Their mission was clear: death. They bypassed valuables, ignoring the signs of wealth. This was personal, targeted. The air grew heavy with a sense of impending doom as the figure approached the bedrooms. The first shots shattered the night's silence. 6 rounds fired into Susan's bedroom. She was on the phone, her life brutally extinguished in an instant. Before John could fully comprehend the horror, the assailant was in his room. Shots rang out again, hitting him in the torso and face. Bleeding profusely, critically wounded, John somehow managed to reach the phone. His groans of pain filled the 911 call. "I need police. Somebody came in and shot me," he gasped. He couldn't see his attacker, only the devastating consequences. The gunman vanished into the night, leaving behind a scene of carnage. Police swarmed the quiet neighborhood. Medics rushed John to the hospital, clinging to life. Susan was pronounced dead at the scene. As investigators processed the crime, they noted the untouched valuables. This wasn't a robbery gone wrong. This was something far more sinister. Teddy Minotto, John's law partner, arrived, claiming he was on the phone with Susan when he heard the shots. Why was he calling so late? Could he be involved? Teddy became the first suspect. His background as a competitive shooter raised immediate red flags. Detective Cordo pressed Teddy. His gun was tested. He failed a polygraph. The pressure mounted until he confessed to an affair with Susan. A motive? Perhaps. But his gun didn't match the murder weapon, and his alibi for the time of the shooting held up. Teddy was cleared, but the affair added another layer of complexity to the Suttons' seemingly perfect life. Investigators looked elsewhere. John's high-profile career meant enemies. Death threats weren't uncommon. They scrutinized every lead, every disgruntled client. An angry woman who had threatened John's office days before the attack seemed promising. Could she have used a boat to escape via the waterway? Police investigated the woman, her boat, her alibi. Surveillance footage showed her boat never left the dock. Another dead end. The list of potential suspects dwindled. Who would want John and Susan Sutton dead so desperately, yet leave their valuables untouched? The motive remained elusive, the killer a ghost. The case stalled. Investigators were back at square one, poring over every detail, every interview. They revisited the family, the guests, the history, and then they started looking closer at the one person who seemed most devastated by the tragedy: Christopher Sutton. On the surface, Christopher was the grieving son, but as detectives dug deeper, his past began to surface, layer by layer. His teenage years were marked by defiance, anger, and a diagnosis of conduct disorder. He struggled in school, constantly pushing boundaries, causing trouble. His parents tried everything, but he resisted their efforts. He snuck out of boarding schools, skipped classes, and engaged in vandalism. His behavior escalated. He wanted tattoos, piercings, drugs, things his parents disapproved of. When he didn't get his way, he'd explode in destructive rages. A chilling detail emerged. At 16, he'd pointed a rifle at Susan and Melissa, threatening them. Though the gun was unloaded, the act revealed a disturbing capacity for malice. Christopher's resentment towards his parents grew. He felt controlled, misunderstood. One day, Susan found a note in his room expressing a desire to kill them for his inheritance. He dismissed it as a joke, but Susan was terrified. They considered a restraining order, but ultimately decided on a more drastic measure, sending him away. They sent the 17-year-old to Paradise Cove, a behavior modification program in Samoa. It was a harsh environment, known for severe discipline and isolation. Christopher felt abandoned, punished. He sent tearful video messages, pleading to come home, expressing his pain and anger. His parents visited but remained firm, believing it was for his own good. Christopher's time at Paradise Cove, extended by a court order his father secured, solidified his hatred. He felt betrayed, imprisoned. The experience didn't reform him. It hardened him, fueling a deep-seated desire for revenge. His relationship with his parents was irrevocably damaged. Could this resentment, this history of defiance and anger, be connected to the brutal attack? As investigators pieced together Christopher's past, a chilling possibility began to emerge. Was the grieving son merely playing a part? Was this horrific crime the culmination of years of simmering rage and a twisted desire for inheritance? Christopher's interrogation seemed straightforward. He had an alibi. He was at the movies with Juliet. He provided tickets, and surveillance footage confirmed they left the house. But Detective Cordo noticed something odd in the footage. Christopher was constantly on his phone as he left. Phone records revealed a staggering number of calls in the weeks leading up to the murder. 331 calls to a single number. That number belonged to Garrett Kopp, Christopher's childhood friend and smoking partner. Why were they in such constant contact? The focus of the investigation shifted dramatically. Months after the shooting, Garrett Kopp was arrested for an unrelated assault with a gun in Miami. A detective remembered the Sutton case and requested Garrett's weapon. The ballistics report sent a jolt through the investigation. Garrett's gun matched the one used to kill Susan Sutton and wound John. Brought in for questioning, Garrett initially said little, but under pressure, the truth spilled out. It was a chilling confession. Christopher had hired him to kill his parents for $100,000 of the inheritance money. Christopher planned everything, providing the gun, directing Garrett to the unlocked back door, describing the bedrooms. He even threatened Garrett and his son if he ever spoke about it. The perfect life, the successful parents, the troubled son, it all culminated in a cold-blooded plot, orchestrated by their own child. Christopher Sutton, the black sheep, had not changed. His troubled past wasn't behind him. It was the blueprint for his horrific crime. He used his friend, driven by greed and years of festering resentment. Garrett Kopp was arrested for murder and attempted murder. The man who pulled the trigger was caught, but the mastermind, the son who betrayed his family in the most devastating way imaginable, was the true architect of the Suttons' tragedy. The shadow in the sunshine had finally consumed them. The Sutton family murder is a stark reminder that appearances can be deceiving. It highlights the devastating consequences of unresolved trauma, resentment, and the lengths some will go for greed. It forces us to confront the darkness that can exist even within seemingly perfect families. But all eyes remained on Christopher. Determined to uncover the truth, investigators turned to someone who knew him best, his girlfriend, Juliet. She was brought in for questioning. Calm and composed, she seemed to have nothing to hide. Juliet claimed she knew nothing about the crime. Though she was in a relationship with him, she had no knowledge of any plan. Over the course of 13 relentless hours, she maintained her innocence. She loved John and Susan like her own parents. John had given her a job at his law firm, and Susan had taught her practical skills like makeup and home management. She had become part of the family. Juliet even broke into tears, hoping to convince the officers, but they remained unmoved. They threatened her with arrest if she didn't tell the truth. That's when Juliet realized she had to save herself. She revealed the truth. Christopher had long harbored deep hatred toward his parents for sending him to Samoa. He believed they had ruined his life. He wanted revenge, no matter how long it would take. Detectives already knew about his time in Samoa. They just needed confirmation. Meanwhile, John was waking up in the ICU. The injury had left him blind. His daughter Melissa said he was unrecognizable. It was a miracle he survived. After being discharged, John moved in with Christopher. Within days, his son tried to take control of his bank account. Then came the call. Early that morning, detectives warned John, "Don't let anyone into the house until we get there." Everything started to make sense. Christopher wanted payback. When the officers arrived, they broke the news. Despite his condition, John assisted them with crucial information to solve Susan's murder. News of Christopher's warrant went public, and he fled. He remained on the run for nearly 2 weeks before being captured, tried, and convicted. As the trial unfolded, the disturbing truth about Christopher Sutton was revealed. The prosecution paraded witness after witness, each one painting a clearer picture of the rage and resentment that consumed him, an obsession that led to revenge. The much-anticipated trial began on July 7, 2010. John Sutton, devastated, sat far away from his son. Prosecutor Kathleen Hogue told the jury how Christopher had hired a hitman to kill his parents so he could cash in on a life insurance policy. Christopher, back from Samoa with no real job, dealt drugs and depended entirely on his parents. Then came the testimony of Garrett Kopp, Christopher's childhood friend.
Mr. Kopp, did you shoot Susan Sutton with the intent to kill her?
Yes. Did you succeed?
Yes.
What kind of weapon did you use?
A handgun.
Did you shoot John Sutton with the intent to kill him as well?
Yes, but I didn't succeed.
Garrett detailed how he entered the house, shot both parents, and walked out unnoticed. He said he and Christopher had planned the attack for months. Christopher even gave him $50 to buy black clothes for the hit at Walmart. He openly admitted, "Christopher hired me to do the job." But the defense pushed back. Attorney Bruce Fleer argued that Garrett had only testified to avoid the electric chair, cutting a 30-year plea deal. Christopher testified that Garrett was addicted to drugs and had broken into the house to steal marijuana. He claimed Garrett knew exactly where the stash was hidden, in the closet of his old bedroom, the same room Susan now used. According to him, Garrett panicked when he found Susan awake, shot her, then shot John out of fear. But prosecutors had a bombshell, a text message Christopher had sent Juliet. "We're going to be better off once they're gone." In court, Christopher lowered his head and cried. He insisted he was being set up. He believed Juliet would never say such things about him. He was wrong. Juliet took the stand next. She told the jury how her boyfriend often referred to his mother with vile names at the slightest disagreement. He resented her for not giving him the life he believed he deserved. Samoa had scarred him. He was angry, and the trauma never left. She confirmed that he believed his parents had stolen years from his life, and they needed to pay. The defense countered again, claiming Juliet, too, was threatened into testifying. But she ended by saying she never truly believed he would go through with it. She thought it was all just talk. But John was no longer in doubt. He took the stand to seal his son's fate. He described Christopher's unquenchable thirst for money. For someone without a job, he always needed more, to fund a lifestyle he couldn't afford. After being discharged, John noticed Christopher trying to control his finances. Suspicious, John began hiding information, unknowingly saving himself from his own son. Though convinced of his son's guilt, John admitted in court, "I can no longer love him. I'm no longer his father. I'm Melissa's father now." Despite the mountain of evidence, Christopher still tried to prove his innocence. He claimed Juliet was lying, that Garrett was desperate to avoid death row. He said everything was a setup. After a day and a half of deliberations, Christopher Patrick Sutton was found guilty of first-degree murder and attempted murder. He was sentenced to life in prison without the possibility of parole. Garrett pleaded guilty to second-degree murder and received 30 years. His father, Mitchell Kopp, was heartbroken. He'll spend half his life behind bars over a stupid decision. After sentencing, John returned to his law practice. Though blind, he worked on regaining his vision through an experimental device implanted in his eye. He memorized legal briefs and won cases, just like before. He even found love again. But he has never forgiven Christopher. Now in his 70s, John continues practicing law, rebuilding his life piece by piece. What could have been done to save Christopher from himself? Could this tragedy have been prevented? Let us know what you think in the comments below. If you appreciate the way we tell these stories, please like and subscribe to the Into the Crime Depths channel for more true crime insights. Thanks for watching.